Hi, I'm Dr. Eric Cobb. We're continuing on today with our ankle series. If you have ankle pain, foot pain, obviously we've been already talking about mobilizations in a couple different ways. We're going to continue on today working on ankle dorsiflexion. Now, before we jump into that, if you're new to Z Health, we are an education company. We work with what we call world-class doctors, therapists, coaches around the world. So if you're interested in what you see here, you're interested in a brain-based approach to training, check out all of our free resources and sign up for the blog because we have about 500 of them on here. All right, so ankle issues. One of the things that we're going to run into constantly is a lack of dorsiflexion. So dorsiflexion is when the toes come up toward the knee. So if I'm trying to get into a kneeling position or a deep squat, limitations in dorsiflexion are very common and they can be very problematic. A lot of people will complain about a pinching sensation in the front of the knee. So it not only can limit your mobility to do athletic things, it can also start to create pain. So what we're going to do is just take you through a quick progression that has worked really well for a lot of clients. We will add some additional stuff to this later in the series. But what I want you to do is first sit down, and you're going to begin with just some basic warm-up movements, some basic ankle rotations. You're going to do each direction 5 to 10 reps, and then you're going to repeat that on the opposite side. Very, very simple. You can do it at a slower pace, faster pace, and in fact, as you go through your rehab, I'm going to recommend that you work at different speeds as you do the ankle circle. Now from there, we're going to start the dorsiflexion mobilization. Remember, the way that this is going to work is that we want the knees to get closer to the toes. So in a seated position, I'm going to take one leg and put it back, which means I'm going to be focusing now on my right foot. I'm going to draw it back until I start to feel just a little bit of tension in my calf and also maybe in the ankle. And now all that I'm going to do here is a little bit of a sliding motion forward. So you can see I'm keeping my knee on the ground and I'm going to drive my knee forward. What I do not want you to do is to drive your knee forward and in for this particular portion of the drill. If anything, I want you to come directly forward or forward and out a little bit, which will help drive a little bit more arch creation. So we're going to do that again 5 to 10 times, switch legs, and then come back. I'd like for you to do 2 to 3 rounds of that. And then you're just going to see how the ankle's feeling. You can go back and do a couple more ankle circles. From here, we're going to get a little bit more aggressive with these mobilizations. So for these, we're going to be kneeling. Now, the first exercise that I normally would teach here, we would use a wall, all right? But because I'm on camera and the wall's not convenient, we're actually going to focus on, I'm just going to use a chair as an example. So I'm in a kneeling position, and I want my toes to be about 5 inches from the base of the wall or the base of my target, whatever that is. And from here, I'm just going to drive forward with the general goal of getting my knee to the wall or whatever it is I'm trying to reach. Now, obviously, the leg here is a little further in than the bottom. So for me, a good goal would be to make sure that my knee is actually making contact with the wall. If you have ankle problems, that's going to be very rare. A lot of people really struggle with this kind of basic mobilization. So you start with what you have. So you're just going to do 10 to 15 repetitions. Switch legs, repeat that on the opposite side. You can again do these at different speeds. I would like for you in the beginning to again focus on not allowing the knee to drop in as you do that exercise. Now to reinforce that, after you've done kind of this basic warm up on the wall, we're then going to need a stick, all right? A dowel of some kind. And for this particular exercise, what we're gonna do is we're gonna place the stick. Again, we're staying in a kneeling position. We're going to place a stick in front of our second and third toes, and it's going to be touching there. Now, my job is to repeat that same exercise, but instead of going to the inside of the stick, as I'm demonstrating here, what I want you to do is drive to the outside of the stick. As you can see, if I come in here, I'm getting this what we call valgus knee angle, which is already created in many cases by a lack of dorsiflexion in the ankle, and that can promote some potential knee injuries. So what we want to train ourselves to do is to drive to the outside. All right, and you're going to also feel that if you keep your heel on the ground, you'll feel your foot gripping just a little bit. So this is again one of my very kind of favorite mobility exercises for the ankle, and it's a great warm-up drill as well as you're prepping to go into any kind of training session. All right, so we have our seated ankle circles. We have our little chair shuffle, we have our wall drill, right? And now we have this little stick drill. All of these I found to be extremely beneficial. It usually will only take you 3 to 4 minutes to go through this little process. Give it a shot, see how it makes your ankle feel, and we'll follow up next time with some information on the opposite movement, which is plantar flexion.